You already know my girl is Beyonce, so let's just play Beyonce
Oh
the entire
gosh.
way there.
Here we
So,
go. Here we go. Well, I'm gonna actually get a little more comfortable.
cushion like type of cream feel experience. That's all I can
Uh,
say.
like I'm putting the headphones on, so the aesthetic has changed a little bit. It literally feels like a hug. It is like ridiculous. Can I ask you like a super like serious question? It's a little hard to get into, but once you get in there, oh my God, it's everything. And what actually are Twinkies? Like what is it? Like what? I feel like
Yeah.
I'm giving like my regular Brooklyn self here. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get rid of the polo and let's just go full Brooklyn right now. Let's do that. I guess we can get started. So here we
Come
go.
on, Brooklyn. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm excited.
All right. Boom. All right. Hey everybody. Welcome back to What Up Though. I am the host of the Jam. I am the executive producer of the Jam, or whatever you want to call me, aka Sound Guy. I'm ChaseKassidy. Hey y'all. Nice to see you again. We are back, and I am super excited about this today. This was one of those like connections for me where it happened like super quick, hit me over the top of the head, and I was like, okay, I gotta move on this. I have to like get to know this person. Y'all are getting it like super real right now. You're getting it super fresh. Like I am like, we are really getting to know each other for the first time. Eddie M, ladies and gentlemen. He's here.
What's up, folks? What's up? What's up?
From my point of view, this is how we kind of like started talking and how we met. We just kind of like started chatting a little bit on my personal page. I think just like liking some stuff on each other's stories and things like that. Just little like, simple stuff. And then I got a message from you on the Sweet Talkers page saying that you had a podcast, which is really interesting because I had noticed that you had one on your page a couple of days before. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna check it out eventually. But it's one of those things you just kind of like puts in the back of your mind. And so I thought it was really interesting when you sent me the show, and I was like, you know what? Let me listen to it right now. And I did, and
Mm,
I honestly like I don't think I've ever listened to a piece of content that wasn't produced by me that sounded so much like me or like my story. Like we have so many parallels, and like I felt seen and I felt like understood in a different way. And I was like, I gotta know this person. So I reached out and here we are. Like, I
yeah.
really appreciate you doing this. I know that was kind of like weird, maybe like, this guy like, yo, what's
No,
up? Like,
you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm normally the weird one because I'm always the one that likes to like talk to people, no matter who you are. And my friends always tell me like, you just so friendly with everybody. Doesn't matter where you're at. You're always the first person to walk up to someone and just start talking. So yeah,
yeah,
good.
I'm really glad that you agreed to do this. I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, yo, like as soon as I heard your podcast, like I was listening to it on my balcony and like I came inside and I was like, yo, like this guy, like I'm like, yo, this is like so my story. Well, before we even get there, let's start here. Let's go super basic. I want to go super basic, super like regular. Like what's like the basics about you? Like where you from? What's your colors? Like what, like that sort of stuff.
I am from Detroit, Michigan. I've been here for 29 years. I don't know why I've been here for 29 years, but actually, I take that back. My family's a key reason why, actually, but outside of that, I don't know why I'm still here. I'm a dancer. I used to dance a lot in
Oh
high school,
wow.
middle school. Yep, danced in college. I actually did cheer in high school, which I'm glad there's no like actual photographic evidence of that, but I did do
Why?
cheer.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah,
Like what? That's dope.
yeah, yes, done that. I'm a photographer on my spare time. You mentioned like I do the podcast and stuff. I'm always busy, man. I'm always thinking about things of like elevating myself and how I can elevate people around me and how can I create a brand for myself. Yeah. And I'm the youngest of three, the only boy. I have three, actually four. I'm the youngest of four because I got three older sisters. So yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Grew up in a household full of women. So I'm used to dealing with that personalities as well, those different dynamics in the household. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm just a big family person,
Yeah.
cornball. I love watching reruns of like old shows, old TV, like cartoons or sitcoms and stuff. I'm real big on that.
Yeah.
It's like my comfort space. And I'm a big fan of like sweets, so I love eating like Twinkies. I'm a big fan of those. I can eat like a whole box of Twinkies in a minute. Like I kitchen Twinkies. I got 2 boxes literally behind here, like, and I can smash a whole box within a minute.
Can I ask you like a super like serious question? What actually are Twinkies? Like what is it? Like what? Because like it doesn't feel like bread. It doesn't taste like anything cakey, but it also tastes fine. It's strange. I just want to know what it is. That's it.
It's like little pieces of God wrapped in, you know, a cushion like type of cream feel experience. That's all I can say.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Wow. That was probably honestly the last thing that I was expecting to hear tonight is that, like, you know, he loves Twinkies. Okay, that's cool though. Yeah. It's funny though, we do have, even as just asking that like simple question, we have like even like more parallels that I found. Also in high school, I danced as well. I didn't cheer, but I stepped. So I stepped and danced. So we have that also. It's really cool, man. Wow. I'm interested in Michigan though. Like, what is it? What is it like there? Not this laugh.
Because I'm trying to make sure I'm like being like, honestly, to me, I feel like Michigan is just it's like Mother Nature's, like, you know, you can be like bipolar, like that's what Michigan is. Michigan is like Mother Nature bipolar state of mind. Like you just never know what you're gonna get when it comes to the seasons. Like this whole past week we had summer, spring, fall, and winter all in one week. Which is typical here. It's just Michigan's, I mean, it depends how you look at it. Like, if you go to Detroit, downtown Detroit is awesome. It's growing, it's booming, it's coming back. It's more, you know, more things to do, more activities, more businesses down there. And it's like really starting to thrive and stuff. I think there's a lot of opportunity downtown Detroit. I think even going on the outskirts of, you know, the city area, like, I mean, there's things to do, but to me, the thing that kind of makes me feel like I don't want to be here is that my personality and the way I like to engage and interact with people is so big, and this state is so small that I feel limited. So yeah, Michigan, it's cool. When people always say like, hey, can I come visit? It's like, you can. I don't know what I can show you, but you can come visit. Like, it's stuff to do, but it's just not, it ain't the same compared to going to like Atlanta or to a Dallas or going to New York or going to California. Like, is, you know, you got our city, you got a few bars here and there like anywhere else, a few restaurants, and boom, we're done. So
that's about it.
Yeah.
All right, so let me go a little bit deeper here. And if at any moment you have any questions for me, by all means, stop me. A place that we where I really saw that we had a parallel that really hit me is we both had a near-death experience that had to do with something health-wise, a major health issue. Do you want to talk about what yours was? Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that segue to let me like get a preface so I can make sure I take my little last shot so I can get prepared.
Oh, so you have a shot going on? Is that what you, is that? That's okay.
Well, it was technically red wine, but it's like a good strong one. So I was like, I'm gonna just throw this back real quick. For those who are watching, please buckle up. About to get real emotional for a second, probably. But so this had to be, what, I think it's 6 years ago now. It had to be 6 years. Yeah, 6 years ago. You know, I think I was just about to turn 20. I think I was 23, about to turn 24 soon. And I remember going to Miami and stuff that summer, and then coming back, you know, living my life, you know, real hot gay boy summer, having a good time. And then, you know, you come back and I'm working at a desk job, and as I'm sitting there typing away, I felt like I was having an anxiety attack, which I never had before. I just know like some of the symptoms of it. So to me, you know, I'm like, okay, well, my heart's racing pretty fast. Like, I'm feeling it, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. My breathing started to get short. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I have an Apple Watch on. Let me look at my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So as I'm sitting there at a desk job, mind you, where you're supposed to have a slow, normal resting heartbeat. Well, my beats per minute, should I say, was like 240 something beats per minute as I'm sitting typing. So I'm like, okay, red flag number one. This isn't normal. So I ended up calling my mom. My mom at the time was working at the local hospital as a nurse. And I told her what was going on. And she said, okay, well, make an appointment to go see your doctor right now if you can and have him do some tests.
Yeah.
So get to my doctor. Doctor comes in and says, okay, we're going to do an EKG on you and everything. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not thinking too deep into it. I'm just like, all right, maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe he can just give me some medication and everything stops.
Right.
So he comes back like 10 minutes or 15 minutes later, and he has this look on his face. He's like, yeah, so I'm going to show you your EKG, and I want to show you how your heart is going like up and down real fast, and it slows down, and it does it again. I'm like, okay, interesting. I was like, so what does that mean? He was like, so you can, I'm going to have to send you to the emergency room. And I'm like, why? He was like, because they can better help you with what's going on. And I was like, do you know what's going on? He said, to be honest with you, I can't identify what's happening. I think you're going into afibrillation.
Oh,
which
wow.
To me, I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means, sir.
Yeah.
So what do I do? He's like, just go to the emergency room, and they can help you from there. And he said, but we can also get an ambulance to take you if you want us to. We can get one called here, and they can take you there. And at the time, I was very frugal. Because at 23, going on 24, stuff, you don't really have money like that. And so it's like, the ambulance ride is going to cost like $1,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nah, y'all not about to bill me for that. So I drove myself, and I got on my way there. I called my big sister, I called my best friend, and my mom. They all came, and when I gave the receptionist the note that my doctor wrote and the EKG, they pulled me back so quick. Like, I didn't have enough time to even like sit down before they just started grabbing me and put me on this, like, gurney. And they started taking my shirt off, and that's when I started like panicking even more. Like, my heart started beating faster because I don't know what's happening, and no one's telling me what's going on. And so I remember them pulling me back, and they had closed the curtains, and I just kept, yelling for my mom. I was like, Mom, can you hear me? Where you at? And my mom, she grabs my ankle, and she started like rubbing my ankle, telling me that she's here and she hears everything. And they put some type of needles in me and stuff, all this crap, and got my heart rate to go down. In the hospital for a week, but I was out of that emergency room for 2 days. And the third day, a doctor came in, and he said, okay, we're going to check your heart. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? We're going to put you to sleep, and we're going to put a tube down your throat and just see what's going on. I came to like towards the end of the day. Mm-hmm. That's when the doctor came back in, and he said, okay, so what's going on is that your left ventricle build up membrane tissue, whereas like there's not enough blood to flow from one side to the other. And since that one side is connected to like your lungs and to your brain function, and it sends blood and everything to all these different areas of your body, your heart starts to beat faster because it's going to compensate for the lack of blood going from one side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Wow. Well, what do you do?
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, there's a few options, but, we might want to just, take a day to like just first recoup from this, and then we'll come back and discuss more. I'm like, all right, fine, perfect. So took a few days in the hospital, got discharged and everything, made an appointment with my cardiologist, the guy that did the procedure to see what my heart was doing. Mm-hmm. I go to him, and he's like, all right, so you have two options here. One is we could, leave it alone, and you can be on blood thinners or like blood medication and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, that leaves bruising. And I was like, and I can't drink, right? He was like, yeah, you can't drink when you're on blood thinners. I was like, all right, well, no, that's out because I'm not doing blood thinners. And then he said the other option is to do surgery. And I said, okay, well, what does that mean? And he was like, well, we have to, go in and remove the tissue and stuff and make some cuts into your heart. That way blood can flow through and also prevent tissue from growing again. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. So is that like, is it simple? Is that easy?
Yeah.
Well, no, we have to put you to sleep, and you'll be out for 4 to 5 hours. And I'm sorry, not 4 to 5, 5 to 6 hours, he said. And then he said, we'll take your heart out, and we will operate on your heart outside of your body while you're attached to a lung or oxygen and blood machine. And I'm just like, mind you, I'm still young. I'm like 24 at this time. I think it's turned 24. So I'm like freaking out. Like, what does that mean, sir? Like, I don't know how I feel about this. And so when he told me that option, I remember telling him and my mom, like, y'all both can go to hell because I'm not doing either one. Like,
period.
I'm just, like, I'm just not doing it. I don't care what anyone tells me. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to do that.
No.
My mom started talking to me, you know, after we left that appointment. So let's just say for story purposes, this happened. The incident took place in May. I'll say maybe by that middle of June, I had the appointment with my cardiologist. And then my mom and I talked for like from June all the way into like September, November-ish about what I could do.
Yeah.
And around September, November, I said, okay, you know what? You're crying about it. My dad's crying about it. I'm going to get the surgery that way everyone's good.
Mm-hmm.
So booked this surgery. The lady, the woman, or I guess the nurse, she was like, well, we can get you in, you know, before Christmas. And I was like, yeah, no, let's push this out until next May. Let's give it a year almost before I even think about doing it. And during that time too, like from that November to like May or whatever, I did a lot of traveling. I did a lot of reflecting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just enjoyed life up until the time of May 17th, when it came up. And I remember the night before, I went out with friends to a bar and to a club so I can like dance, have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember my family came up from out of state. Family members from all over came up to see me and stuff. And then the night prior, I remember sitting down at the desk at my mom's house or at our house, and the nurse had gave me like this pamphlet a few weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
And the pamphlet basically tells you like, what do you want to happen just in case you die? And I'm like, I can fill this out. I'm good. I can do this. So as I'm writing everything out, and it gets to a point of like, I've read the question and I just kept reading the question over again. Like, you know, what do you want to do with your body? Mm-hmm. And like, I just remember like just bawling and just like tears coming down my eyes and just like freaking out. And then I remember just going to my room and my mom came behind me and she was like, what's wrong? I was like, just leave me alone. Like, you don't understand. No one understands what this feels like. No one has that fear. Like in my mind, in my head, I'm thinking like, this could be my last day that I can sit here and talk to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the last day I talk to my dad. This could be the last time I ever see my friends. So all these different thoughts are going through my head. And I remember just crying, like just crazy tears. And my mom called my dad, put him on speaker, and he's trying to talk to me. And I remember just calling out God's name, like, just God, can you answer me? Can you tell me why? Why me? What did I do? That is wrong. And my mom, she prayed with me. My dad prayed with me. And then the next morning, surgery day, get up. We had to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we got up pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
Got up. We got in the car, me and my mom. And she was like, what do you want to listen to while we were on our way there? And I was like, well, you already know my girl is Beyonce. So let's just play Beyonce the entire way there.
Here we go. Here we go.
So me and her in the car, we're singing together, we're laughing and stuff, we're dancing and everything, and she's keeping my mind off of it. And then I get to the hospital. I remember, like, you know, all my friends were there, my sisters were there, my aunt, my uncles was there, my nieces were there, and I'm just sitting there getting prepped and everything. And so everyone's laying around me as I'm on the bed.
Yeah.
And we're taking pictures and stuff. And my the nurse came and said, okay, well, everybody got to go in the waiting room. And I'm like, what can my mom and dad stay? And he was like, yeah, they can stay. That's cool, whatever. You only got a couple minutes before we come pull you back. And so my mom and dad's there, and they hold my hand and stuff, and we're just kind of laughing. And I just looked at both of them, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, mom or dad. I said, I don't know what's going to take place. All I can tell you is that I love you both, and whatever I did bad as a son or as a kid or whatever, like, I'm just asking for forgiveness right now, and I'm just asking that you both know that your son, your baby, loves you, and I'm really going to try my best to fight to get through this. And they called me, and remember, like, you know how you lay on that bed and they pull you. So
Yeah.
like if you're laying on the bed, like you see the lights just flashing like this in your face, like
Yes.
from the yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm laying there, and as I'm looking at the lights just go past my face, like I'm just got tears coming down. And so get in there, of course they count, tell you to count down from 10. I think I got to maybe 9 or 8, and I was out. The next day, I remember waking up, and the first thing I saw was my mom, my sisters, and my niece, and that was the best feeling in the world to wake up and see that girl's little face smiling
That's
at me,
awesome.
like grabbing for me and stuff. And it was just like, this is what life meant. This is what it is all about.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell. Long story short, it's kind of this journey of my near-death experience. But it's one of those things that I love talking about and sharing, because even though it's emotionally triggering for me, those emotional triggers help me share and connect with other people.
Yeah.
And that people understand, like, there's courage, there's bravery, and all types of things, and life can throw you a curveball. You just got to bounce back from it. So
I want to get more into like what that meant for you, like what that experience, how that changed you and how it changed your life. Because honestly, I don't think people really understand what something like that will do to you, and how there's no going back to who you were before that moment. Like I remember the moment it happened for me. And it's really interesting. Like there are some really, gosh, the parallels are crazy. So there I was, minding my business. I had just started like this really dope job, right? And this is in 2016, August of 2016. And so I'm 31 at the time. And I'm sitting there at this new job. It also is an office job. And the job that I worked on had 3 screens. And so it was a lot of like looking left to right the whole day. And I remember this particular moment, I'm typing and I look from this screen to that one and I turn, and then like 2 seconds later, the rest of the room moves along with it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a little dizzy right now. That's a little strange. I don't really know what that's about, right? Didn't really pay it much attention, but a few days later, it happened again, and it just kind of kept happening. And it would happen for like a week, then it would go away, and like that sort of thing. And it just so happened, the end of that September, I had a doctor's appointment, and walked into the doctor's appointment, and it was the last thing that I mentioned on the way out. I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've been a little bit dizzy lately. It's kind of strange." He's like, "Hey, I don't really see anything that's looking abnormal, but." If anything additional happens, let me know, and I will get you to an ear, nose, and throat, and we'll do all that sort of thing. So fast forward to April. My birthday's in April, and it was about 2 weeks before my birthday, and I remember a headache started happening, along with the dizziness that never really went away, right? And then. About 2 weeks after that, then I find that I'm always tired and I'm exhausted and like there's fatigue. It's a lot of things. So I'm just like feeling sick now. So I reached back out to my doctor. He gets me set up with a specialist for ear, nose, and throat. And the thing with specialists is, man, it's like a 30-day window, of like, you make your appointment here, you see them here. So in all of this, I'm still sick. So at this point, I've not been feeling well since August. So ear, nose, and throat, they don't find anything. They send me to a neurologist. She doesn't really find anything. So she's like, we're going to do an MRI. At this point, it's been about 3 or 4 months additionally since I started, talking to my doctor about this seriously. And I remember I went to my neurologist and had my MRI done, and that was on a Friday. And that Saturday, I had some friends over my apartment and had a great time. And at the end of it, 2 of my friends were still there. We were kind of cleaning up, and I just kind of froze at my kitchen table, and I just started bawling. I started crying. I was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I feel like something's wrong with me. I feel like something's up." And they were like, "No, you're fine. It's okay," right? Because in my head, I'm like, yo, I've been sick since August. Like, y'all don't understand like how hard it is to exist in the world feeling like this every day. So I I'm at work Monday morning. Well, actually Monday afternoon. And at this point, to be honest with you, I had completely forgotten that I had an MRI that Friday. And I get a call from my neurologist, and she's like, "Hey, got your results back." And I'm expecting her to say everything's fine because everything else has always been fine. And she's like,
Right.
"Yeah, so we found, this aneurysm in your brain." And I'm like, "Huh? What?"
What?
Because to me,
Right.
like, anytime I've heard that, that kills people. Like, I know that that is like something that
Mm-hmm.
will take you out of here. And, she's like, "Yeah, it's fairly small, but, there is a risk of rupture. And if it ruptures," then she starts going into like the really, really bad things that could happen. And I said to her, like, in my head, I'm still like, "Oh, okay, fine. This is just, what are the options? There's a pill I can take. Like, there has to be something, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, we could do
Right.
something, and it's called brain surgery." And I was like, "What?" So
Right.
I was like in major shock. And brain surgery, that comes along with its own risk. And she was like, "Hey, here's the thing. We don't have to touch it. We can leave it alone, and nothing could ever happen. It could be perfectly fine." She was like, "You may have had this your entire life. We don't know. It could be fine." She was like, "Or, you know, one day it could just rupture, and you never know when that could happen." And I'm like, "All right." So to make a really long story short, my life changed immediately.
Yeah.
That's I always kind of struggled with a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of depression or whatever, but that's when it really just cranked it up for me, to like
Yeah.
this unbearable like level. And so it was just like this constant like, "I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die" kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so that October, I finally was able to get my surgery done. But what was really interesting was I had the option to get my surgery done immediately as well. And I was like, "Wait a
Oh
minute,
man.
wait, this is, wait."
Hold up.
I need a minute. I need a minute. I was like, "Hold up." Because I've been like perfectly healthy my whole life. So you tell me I go from that to, "Hey, we're just going to dig around in your brain for a little while. You're going to be perfectly fine.
Exactly.
We're going to leave a little bit of like, titanium up there, but it's okay."
Right.
Like that's kind of weird. So I needed some time to like soak that in. But it was hard, man. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to be in that position. And like you said, like it was really funny because the morning of the surgery, I woke up and I was like, "You know what? We're gonna do this." And I'm like Mr. Funny Man. I'm making all the jokes, having a great time.
Yep.
If you looked at the
Yep.
pictures, you would think I was going to like a theme park for the day or something. It was really crazy. But I remember there was a moment when they called me back, and I was sitting in this room before going back to like, get like prepped.
Yeah.
And a nurse came in, and she kind of was breaking everything down to me. And I was just sitting in that room by myself in silence. And I remember I was like, "Oh shit." Like, it,
Yeah.
yeah,
About to happen.
yeah, I'm like,
About to
this,
happen. Go down.
this could be curtains. Like, this could really be it.
Yeah.
And the last thing I remember, honestly, was like the lights that you were describing earlier.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I remember. But yeah, I had my surgery. It was like 2 hours. Thankfully, they didn't have to cut my head open. They actually went in through like my artery in my groin. It went
Wow.
all the way up. It was really crazy. Like, it was really wild.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I know, like, listening to your podcast, you were talking about like some of the emotional stuff you dealt with after that. And
Oh yeah.
I would
Fun.
say that for me, I don't know about you, was the hardest part of the entire
Oh, it is.
experience. What was that? What has that been like for you? What has that journey been looking like on your side?
Uh, so it's the man. So when I came to and everything, I was good. Like you, I was making jokes with my family. I even like tried to pay my mom to like escape me from the hospital because I was in there for too long. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Mom, I would give you $200. Like, pack me up, get me out of here." But I remember coming home. I was on bed rest for 8 weeks.
Mhm.
And week 7, I think it was 6 or 7. I think it was 7, if I remember correctly. And I remember waking up from sleep, and I looked at the ceiling, and I just started crying. And I was just like, "F this! I'm over it. This is dumb." I'm like, "Why me? This is like, there's no explanation here, and I'm in pain." Because at the same time, like, they gave me medication to help with pain, but it was like Oxycontin and stuff, so I didn't want to take it because I heard about people getting addicted to it. So I was like, I don't want to take it. So I was like, I'm good. And so my scar tissue and everything, as it's healing, I'm just feeling all the spasms. I'm feeling all the different pain that I can't stop because I choose deliberately not to take this pain medicine because I'm afraid of an addiction that would come from it. And so my mom, she's like, well, what's going on? I said, nothing, Mom. I said, I'm just over this. Like, I really don't want to be here. And I remember telling her that, like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm tapped out. I'm done. And my best friend, God bless her, she came over and she picked me up and she took me out for like a long drive for like the whole day. We went to a park and walked and everything. And it boosted my spirits, but it doesn't change like what I was feeling inside. Inside, I felt invaded. I felt like my body has been had an intruder inside of it. I felt like, you know, someone touched a part of me that I can't even touch myself. That's the crazy part. Like someone literally had their hand on my heart and pulled it out and operated on it. Something that I don't have the ability to do myself. I let someone else, I put the trust into their hands to make sure I was good. And so there's that level of it. It's the level of like, I have a long scar and at that time being young, you know, I'm like, okay, I don't want to take my shirt off. I'm embarrassed. Like, I don't want to take it off because I'm insecure now. Yeah. And I remember my dad, he came to visit me and he like reached in to give me a hug like he always do. And like, I pushed him away from me because he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, Dad, I just don't feel comfortable hugging anybody. Like, I don't want anyone that close to me because that's the only thing I have right now that I can control is like, I can protect this now. Like, I can keep people away from me. And so that process alone was hard. And I think a lot of it I think a lot of it fell into the line of, you know, things I dealt with like relationships and not trusting people. Just being very like carefree on some stuff because I just felt like, hell, well, I can die tomorrow. So why not do X, Y, and Z? I might as well do this and do that. And like, it just took me down this really bad path, I think. The thing is that all the turmoil and stuff that I caused with other people and dynamics based off of how I couldn't handle the inner depression, the inner sadness, the inner darkness from this heart surgery, I laughed on other people, which caused me to take a good look at myself, which sent me to therapy. Yeah. And through therapy, I found myself, you know, really unlocking different layers of things that I always kept hidden or embedded because I just didn't want to talk about them. And so now I look at my scar as the opportunity for me to be a better person, a better version of myself. And I want to just put nothing but good energy out there to people. I want people to connect with me. I want people to relate. I want to, you know, be a beacon, if you will, quote unquote, of hope for somebody because all during that time of, you know, post-surgery, I just didn't know myself. Yeah. I was just mad. I was just angry, I guess. Like, I was just angry at so many different things of like, you know, I had open heart surgery, you know, I'm going through a depression that I don't even realize I was going through at the time. Yeah. I was also at the time not fully out in my sexuality, so I'm trying to deal with that and deal with that lifestyle too of keeping that embedded. And then, you know, to add more fuel to the fire, less than 2 years ago, I lost two of my grandparents, my grandmother on my mom and dad's side, and lost my stepmom to cancer. So it's like, God hasn't shown me any favors, y'all, like in a very long time. Like, he's been really going in on me. And it really just made me go through a point where I was like, I don't care about how this person feels. I don't care what this person thinks about me. But I want to do something because it makes me feel good because I'm going to do it because, hell, God's going to do something else in my life. So why not? And when I realized how hurtful people were getting from me, that's what caused me to go to therapy. That's what helped me figure things out. And it allowed me to take accountability, take ownership, allowed me to really look at myself in the mirror and just say, like, this is what you do to people. Why are you doing it? You know, trying to break down those different layers. Right. And so, yeah, I think my journey through all of that just helped me find my voice, find who I am as a person, love my skin, love the skin I'm in. Now I have this long scar, and I don't care who. If someone asks me on the street, like, "Hey, can I see your scar?" I'm flashing you. I'm like, "Here you go, look, it's a scar. It's here. It's because it's a part of me. Because without that surgery taking place, I can't be the person I am today without it." And that's my little token I have for me. Yeah, I'm thinking like just how, for me, it was just like, again, being young, living life, and then all of a sudden someone tells you that, boom, you got to have this surgery done. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. And then, I'm looking at myself, and then you're looking at myself too as like, from being a queer man, a queer male, young, and thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have this scar. No, someone's gonna see it. They're not gonna like me. Wow. It's all these different thoughts that go in your head as like your body and stuff. And it's like, my body was like, at that time, thank God for growth, Jesus. But at that time, my body was something that was like my golden ticket to people, and like wanting to like connect. And so to me, it was like, okay, now this is, to me in my mind, tainted. To me, it was invaded. To me, it's not mine anymore. I don't feel like it's my body anymore. I feel like someone else took ownership of it. And so going through that mental process in mind, just dysmorphia and everything. And I think for me, the way I combat it is that I chose to just talk about why I was angry out loud, I guess. Mm-hmm. And to me, people always say like, you got to pray to God or pray and make sure you answer this. You never question God. And I just go against probably a lot of people who are religious, but I'm sorry. I have questions and I'm going to ask them. And am I at fault for asking these questions? No, because that's how I feel. That's how I experienced my life. My life was changed because of something that God put in it. So why can I ask him a question? If I don't ask a question, I will never get an answer. You can pray to God and say, God, can you please send me this, or can you do that for me? And you expect these blessings to come pouring in. But why can't we go and ask some other things that's really hard for us to process? I'm sorry, I'm going to ask. And some of those questions, I might not ever get an answer. And then in some ways, I do get an answer, which is therapy, which is a good community of people around me to support me, to uplift me, to encourage me, to have these type of connections and share my story. If I didn't question God about my surgery, I wouldn't have the ability or the power to do a podcast to talk about it. If I didn't have the ability to do a podcast and talk about it, me and you couldn't have made this connection. So therefore, my question was valid, and my question led me to other doors to be open. So yeah, I think to get through the anger part of it, and the part of like just being pissed, is that you go to the person who inflicted it on you and you ask, what's going on? Why me? And you really sit there and you let that shit marinate and meditate into your body, and you really sit and look at everything of every aspect of your life, and you start to break down certain stuff and be like, you know what, this makes sense. This is what I should be doing. And I don't know. I mean, it depends on your journey and how you feel though. And the healing process takes as long as you want it to take. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a stop sign where it's like, all right, you know what? You made it to level 1. Like, you are good on healing. Like, no, your healing process is going to always continue to happen.
Oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
It is. It's like, because at the end of the day, something happened to you that changed everything in your mind, in your body, and who you are as a person. Yeah. And you have to lean into that. And though you got to go through a journey of healing, it's okay, because during that journey of healing, you learn different things about yourself. You learn things about people. You learn things about spirituality. You learn all types of stuff. So just buckle up, enjoy the ride. It's fun. It might get on your nerves sometimes. You might question it, but buckle that shit up and put your foot on the gas pedal and drive. Like, get ready. Yeah. It's fun. It's a good experience. It's a fun experience. Yeah. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like, the shit is horrible. Yeah. And you might even want to just punch the wall. But I guarantee you, when you get to a certain place in that journey, though, it changes. Like, your whole life is just different. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be a spiritual thing. It doesn't have to be that. It can be within your partner. It can be with your friends. It can be with whoever you want it to be. It can be in the fucking box of Twinkies for me. So do whatever you want to do. You're good. You're good.
All right. So let's be a little bit more fun here. I have a question, and this is a very important question, even though we've reached a more fun portion of this. If you don't answer this correctly, then I don't even know why we just spent all this time talking because we can't be friends. Are you a fan of the MCU? Marvel?
Of course.
Did you say
Yes.
of course? Oh.
Yes, of course. I'm a fan. I watch I used to one of my friends big into comics and stuff and Marvel and DC and everything. But yeah, we normally go to every movie premiere on Thursday night to go see every movie and catch it and stuff. So
yeah, man, that's my thing. I love that stuff. My boyfriend bought me for Christmas and a whole pretty much encyclopedia of every Marvel character that's ever existed, all their stats. Cool. It's the coolest thing ever. I'm a super geek, so I'm really glad you said that. We're gonna have to talk MCU stuff. I need to know what you feel about Multiverse of Madness and what you think is gonna happen.
Oh man, that's gonna be a good conversation.
Oh yeah. All right, so tell me, are you single? Are you dating? Are you what's the tea? What's happening? The people are gonna want to know. You have a really nice smile. I'm asking for the people at home. They don't know.
Okay, Miss Wendy Williams. All right,
we literally that with the mug and everything, with the mug and all that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, this is about to shake the girls' tables.
Yes.
Oh God.
Messiana, honey. No. Messiana. Yes.
I am not. I am not single. I am in a committed relationship.
Yay.
Yeah. Me and my partner, or my boyfriend. I say partner because I sound like something so sophisticated about partner, so I always just say that.
It's very partner gives me very old gay, but I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, and I think I want to embody that old. Let me not go there.
Okay.
We've been together since 2000. Actually, we got together last year, but we've been in each other's lives since 2019.
Okay.
He wasn't the first person. He wasn't the person I normally would go for. I was. He was pressing to date and everything, and I was in a situationship, and so it was yeah, you're really not my type, but then this person's over here is keeping my interest, but I'm gonna just stay over here and mess with this over in this area.
Yeah.
And the pandemic really brought us closer, I think, because when that situationship ended, pandemic was going on and all this stuff. And we started just hanging out 24/7. And before you know it, I was like, holy shit, I'm catching feelings for somebody. Oh, God. I was I haven't even been single long enough to really catch, enjoy the single life.
Right.
And I remember last year, I just took a gamble on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just jump into this because it feels right. I never felt happier. You make me happy. I make you happy. Why not? And so we've just been together ever since.
I love that. That is really awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things too, because my mom, she's she don't even call me anymore. She calls him and talks to him on the phone. And then my sisters, my nieces, they all love him. My dad loves him. I was like, okay, so what? Why am I even here anymore? Y'all could just keep him around. So. How was
your coming out for you? What was that? I know you said it was kind of intertwined with your healing process and things. What was that like for you?
So my mom knew since which I think she said she knew since I was a kid, but I didn't really tell her coming to it until probably 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't even tell her then. She caught me kissing my then boyfriend. So there we go.
Oh, what is that?
Kind of gives out that story. Yeah.
No.
And that was fun. Yeah, that was okay, hey.
Yeah.
We're just practicing, whatever. It was last year, before I turned 29, I was talked to my dad, and my dad was coming up to visit from Georgia, and he was like, when I come up there, I want to have a conversation with you. And I was like, oh shit, I already know what this is about to be about.
Oh,
and my sister called me, and she was like, yeah, so Dad's been trying to ask me about what's going on with you, but I feel like we usually had that conversation. I think it's time, all stuff like that. I'm like, okay, cool. I will, maybe. And my voice starting to lighten up and crack. I'm like, okay, So my dad comes over and everything. I share the story with him. I'm basically telling him like, yeah, Dad, this is me. This is who I am. Like, I love me. I want you to like appreciate that. And my dad just starts crying. And I was like, I'm like, this man's about to be so mad at me. He's probably gonna be disappointed. And then he looked up and he was like, I'm just so proud of you for coming to me and finally just being your true self around me. He said, I've been waiting for you to feel comfortable enough to share your life, your sexuality with me. And just know that as my son, I will forever love you. And no matter what you do, how you do it, I can care less. As long as you're safe, happy, and loved on by somebody, that's all that matters. And I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, we here, Dad. We cool.
Yeah.
And so as I mentioned before, me and him both, well, I'm an emotional person. My dad's an emotional person. So both of us, he starts crying, I start crying. Now we both crying, hugging each other. And that coming out for me was the last check mark, of everything.
Yeah.
Like my dad asked me, why did you wait so long? And I told him, I was like, because, growing up, being black is one thing, then being gay is another thing, and then you go to church and you hear all these different things, and you hear people, dying, getting kicked out. Like, I was in fear of like what can happen to me, so I just said, if I shut the hell up and don't say anything,
it won't happen to me. Right, literally that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
So yeah, so he told me, he was like, well, I appreciate you just opening that door and allowing me to come in. So yeah, it was a good experience, and my life has been so much better because of that.
Listen, man, like I don't normally like jump at people like this. I really don't. But at the same time, like I'm the type of person, I know how to read people very well, and I know people, and
yeah,
just to kind of like experience you online, and then to hear your story, like I had to talk to you, man. And honestly, like I was not let down. Like, I want to encourage you, like, in everything you're doing.
Wow.
Honestly, like, I'm gonna continue talking to you. Like, we have some other conversations to have, but like, whatever the hell you're doing, like, as far as like just being well, continue to do that, and I'm gonna like try to learn some things from you over here. So, dude, you're killer.
No, I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, man. You're killer, dude.
I had to pull up my MacBook because I don't really use my MacBook unless I'm doing like podcast stuff. I don't even touch this thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh shit. I already got compliments on how good my audio recording is. I said, let me make sure this video shit is together because I ain't about to have nobody come and read me on my no, that ain't absolutely not. This gotta be top grade production value out here, okay?